Good evening, gentle listener, and welcome to Distractible. This week, the gents rewrite the history books as Bob hosts and derides antiquity. Mark dreams about Fort Knox, thinks the internet is old hat, and respects the tallest erection on the planet. Wade surprises Bob with his nuts, which he concedes are the smallest. From mausoleums to the mobile phone. Yes, it's time for Wonders of Our World. Now sit back and prepare to be distracted and enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome back to Distractible.
I was ready.
This is my introduction voice that I always use. My name is Bob, and I'm today's host. But also hosts, but not today. Joining me, as usual, are Mark and Wade.
Yay! Hi.
Mark's not saying... Oh.
I'm a little concerned at what's going on here. And it's concerning, but...
This is how I always talk. What's wrong, Mark?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Just many rumors.
Have you seen the AI presidents meme? Like the recent AI president stuff that's going on? I feel like that's what Bob comes off
Where
as. Like,
Joe, Donny Boy, and Barrack are all playing Minecraft.
Yeah.
And they're like, who took my diamonds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what you sound like, is one of those.
It's my own voice. It's me, Bob. Look, if you're new to this podcast, there's rules, and I'm the host because I won last week, and one of the two other guys are going to win this week, and they're going to host next time. And I get to decide that because I have the ultimate authority. That's the rules. We don't explain that all the time, but it also doesn't matter a lot of the time, so just in case you wanted to know how the show's supposed to work, it's whatever. As the host, I do have a topic for today, but we usually start with small talk and or random bullshit. So, boys, random bullshit, small talk, personal updates?
We had family come stay with us, which has been really nice. Seeing our niece, who is growing up very fast. Not the same as being a parent, but it's definitely like interesting having like a little one running around, because it's like, what do you do with it? How do you appease it? How it is weird. It tickles me.
It is a person, Wade.
No, yeah.
It's not a dog. It's a person.
Not till it can vote. Isn't that the rules? That wasn't some like political
Did you
remark
hear
for the
that?
record.
Listeners? Can you vote yet? I didn't think so.
Oh, man. All right. Oh, interesting.
No, it's been nice. It's been nice spending time with family and having our niece run around. It's nice to spend time with her and actually have her remember us, because she was the flower. I don't know if you guys remember. She was the flower girl at our wedding, and now she's like going to be 6 years old here soon, which is wild. Just how quickly she's growing.
I was so trashed at your wedding. I don't remember anything.
Well, there was good alcohol.
I have nothing new in my life. I've got nothing going on.
What are you doing, Mark?
I just have nothing
That's
going
his
on. I was trying to
presenting
think of
voice.
something. And
You're like frantically Googling something,
I was
or I don't
looking up
understand.
something to talk about.
You went to Google like Markiplier life event update. Damn it! There's nothing out here.
No, I was just like, what is going on in my life? I'm trying to look at the extreme reporting from Pamela out in the field, and there's nothing
About your life?
Yeah, about my life. What's wrong with my life?
Amy! What's going on in my life? Amy!
Did
Look,
we?
can I just say I'm really sad that we have video now that I just dumped my own drink all down the front of my shirt.
I never would have noticed if you didn't call attention to it. But now
I wouldn't have
You
either.
would not have noticed this? Jesus.
No,
I
'cause
fucking
it's so
dumped
much
half a can
shadowy.
of drink on myself. It's
No.
just shadows. It's just shadows. Don't look at me.
I was Googling things frantically. I didn't see what you were talking about.
All right. Anyway, Mark, what does Google say about you? What are you doing?
What, did we ever air the video episode thing of us talking about the thieves in the redwoods?
It was a live, and I believe those are all unavailable.
Oh, didn't we record it at the same time?
Yes, we did.
Isn't it here on this software that we're using somewhere?
Good luck finding it, Will. It's called Distractible Live from months ago.
I found tragic details about Markiplier from his Draw My Life video. Is that an update?
No.
Oh. Wait, I googled Markiplier life update, and the top 3 things are: what disorders does Markiplier have? Did Markiplier's dad pass away? And does Markiplier have heart problems?
What disorders do I have?
That's the top 3 questions apparently that popped up with Markiplier life update.
Inappropriate, internet. Very inappropriate.
I see. Whatever.
Mark, I hope your spleen's doing better.
My spleen. What's wrong with my spleen? What do you know about my spleen?
Oh, that bit about the knots in the redwoods was good, Mark.
Yes.
Good stuff.
And what? Yes.
No, I was transitioning back from it.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
we went to the
man.
video.
If Will
We'll
found
cut
that,
away to that, and then we brought it back and really landed it back in now.
Actually, I think that
I
was
don't
like a
remember this bit at
30-minute
all.
bit, so I don't know. I don't know if that could be put in.
Was I there?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it was like half of an entire live that we did.
The Burls.
The Burls.
The Burls. Well,
Isn't that in the Distractible Go Discord? Aren't we called the Burls?
yeah,
Isn't that
we
our
are.
role?
It was such
That's
a
why
big,
that is.
influential thing, and I'm like, if that just got fit in there and Will found it, you just had half your episode taken care of, Bob. You don't need to.
I don't even need to be here. Done. Thank you so much for watching.
Done, cut print.
Was I have zero recollection of any of this.
You really don't remember the whole bit about the meth addicts and
None.
stealing the burls and going to rob a house because you thought they had burls or something. It was a whole thing we went down. Well, they just watched it. They know.
Yeah, the
Oh,
people
okay.
definitely
Right,
saw
Will?
it. Right, Will?
This sounds like something I wasn't even present for.
You were there.
You were on video. There's proof that it was you.
Was this at the couch at the place?
No, it was not in
No!
person. It was a live we did from our homes on this platform right here, the Riverside.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, good small talk and great story, Mark. Good
Thank
memory.
you.
That was a
Thank
funny
you.
bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, then let's jump into today's topic, which is all about wonders. The world is filled with wonders. Everyone probably has at least heard of the 7 wonders of the world.
Couldn't name them.
And
but
everybody knows the 7 wonders of the world. You know, the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Statue of Zeus at Olympia, Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, and Mausoleum at Halicarnassus. Everybody knows these, right? Colossus of Rhodes, say it with me. And the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
The Taj Mahal, did you say that?
Yeah, no, well, so look, these are, what I just listed are the 7 wonders of the ancient world, which I would regard as the OG wonders of the world. But yeah, no, you're right, Mark. There have been some updates. Before we get to that, can I just say that I had no idea. You guys know what a mausoleum is?
Yes.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't, it's like a building where you put the ashes and or bodies of deceased people. It's part of like a cemetery. Cemeteries often have mausoleums in them. I didn't know that was named because the structure at Halicarnassus that was built for the king of Turkey or whatever it was, it was built for a guy whose name was Mausoleus or
really?
Mausoleus.
Mausolus. Anyway, it's not called a mausoleum for any reason other than a fucking
Hey, 2?
Oh,
They gave me 2.
Food?
Oh, could you put one in the fridge then? Oh my goodness.
what the hell kind of Chipotle
Yeah.
mukbang
We're
video
allowed
is
to
this
eat on
then?
this thing?
I don't know. People get mad when I have candy in my mouth. So
I learned it
wouldn't
from
push
watching you, Wade. I learned it from watching you.
My
Anyway, look,
man.
mausoleums are called mausoleums because there was a really fucking huge one built, and everyone was like, "Oh, this building is for that Mausolus guy," and they're like, "Oh, what's it? Some kind of mausoleum?" I didn't know that. I just thought that was interesting.
That is fascinating.
I didn't know that either. I thought it was a mausoleum.
What did I miss? Wait, hold on.
What?
Wade saw that you were eating, so he wanted to put things in his mouth, I think.
That is the strangest jump of logic I've ever seen out of Wade, and I don't know.
I follow it completely. You know Wade. You know how he thinks. He saw that you were putting food in your mouth, and he was like,
I got this fake cigar
what can
lighter.
I put in my
well.
mouth? Oh. Wow, that tastes like cleaning solution. Oh, you know what you should not do is
This
put
plastic
coasters
is-
that you've had
Oh.
since 2006 in your mouth that just sit on your desk and collect Pine Sol or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, it probably isn't good. Anyway, this is tasty.
Anyway, yeah, so the 7 wonders of the world. Those are the 7 wonders of the ancient world. But we all may know a newer list that includes
These nuts.
things. Oh, he got me. He did get me. He got me. But you're right, Mark. The 7 wonders of the new world they are the Great Wall of China, Petra, the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro, Taj Mahal, Colosseum, Chichen Itza, Machu Picchu, so on, so on. Not so on. There's one more. It's the Giza pyramids.
Would that be 8?
I don't know, man. Numbers were different back then. Maybe
Wait,
7
those
and
are the
7.
modern ones?
Maybe 7 wasn't 7. Those are the wonders of the new world, but those are still pretty old wonders.
Yeah.
Great Wall of
Yeah.
China was constructed in the 7th century BC. The Christ Redeemer statue, actually, the Christ Redeemer statue was built post World War One. It was in like 1931 or whatever.
Oh, that's pretty recent.
But the rest of them were like Machu Picchu, 1450 AD, Chichen Itza, 600 AD. Pretty old. Pretty old.
Do you think Touchdown Jesus from Cincinnati would have made the list if it hadn't burned down?
Well, it might, because what we're talking about today is the 7 wonders of our world as defined by us.
These nuts.
Taj Mahal, cool. Colosseum, great. Old. Too old for me. Those aren't
Okay.
wonders nothing can be so wonderful that it remains a wonder for that long. I posit.
How wonderful
Yeah.
is that?
How wonderful. I don't know. You're going to have to tell me how wonderful it is, Wade. Because
Okay.
today I want you guys to discuss
Oh, God.
the 7 or more wonders of our world right now.
Fogo de Chao, Skyline Chili.
Calm down! You're wasting all the content! We're going to list them one at a time, and they can be anything. I would say, as an example, if I was one of you, I would argue that smartphones, and specifically the T-Mobile G1, the first Android smartphone to ever exist, is a wonder of the world to me because it was a milestone and a complete shift in technology and what was possible. So it can be anything. It could be modern technology. It could be places, buildings, things.
These
It
nuts.
could be businesses, brands. It could be these nuts. Got 'em. Ha. But yeah, I want you guys to propose a new list.
Fogo de Chao, Skyline Chili.
It can't all be restaurants, and shut up.
Whose
I'm
nuts
the king of meats.
would be the nuts? Wade, look, I doubt your nuts are a wonder of the world, but there's got to be
We've
someone's
never compared
nuts.
nuts.
I don't think mine are the wonder of the world.
I don't think I've seen either of your nuts, at least not enough to know if they're the wonder of the world or not.
Well, then you don't know. Maybe mine sparkle and glow in ways you couldn't even imagine.
I don't care if it sparkles and glow. I'm more like, these are like things of scale. So we got to look for who has the biggest nuts in the world. That would be the wonder, right?
Not necessarily. What about the smallest?
All right, let me just Google that.
What about like a whole sack of nuts? There's like 50 nuts.
That's not. See, you're missing the point. See, his wonders are just weird. I don't agree with anything Wade says.
They're allowed
I'm
to
getting
be-
ahead
they're
of this
allowed to be
episode.
Weird. It's okay. It's okay.
I just
They're
don't-
allowed to be weird. We just have to talk about it. That's the deal.
Well, on the way here, there's like, they call it the world's biggest pistachio, right? But it's just a fabricated, like either concrete or plaster, giant painted rock that looks like a pistachio. Well, they shaped it. They made it to look like a pistachio. But it's like, that's not a wonder of the world. But then you drive down this way and you see on the sideways, the signs on the highway that are just like, come see the thing. What is it? What is the thing? It's like all these billboards you're going by. It's like, no one is the same after witnessing the thing. Like, and it's just like, you really do kind of like, what
And the
is?
thing is the pistachio?
No. These are various things that you see on the way down the road. Like that's also, there's other signs that are like, come see the world's biggest pistachio. It's like, okay.
Okay.
All right. But the thing is like, I don't even know what the thing is.
You didn't stop and see it?
No, because it said I would never be the same after you witnessed the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to be forever changed at this moment because I'm on my way to do something important. And I kind of need to be myself. So I didn't want to have my entire perception of reality turned upside down and inside out by the thing.
All right, I'm Googling. Come see the thing, roadside attraction. Is it in Arizona? Is that where it is?
I think so, yeah.
The Thing, a.k.a. The Thing Museum, is an Arizona roadside attraction extensively advertised by signs along Interstate 10 between El Paso, Texas, and Tucson. The object is supposedly a mummified mother and child. It's believed to have been made by exhibit creator Homer Tate for sideshows. What? Why did he mummify a mother and a child? What?
I don't know. Weird.
It does sound like I would be concerned and maybe different, but maybe also worry about where that dude got the mother and the child from.
Probably Etsy.
If we look up that article tomorrow, it's going to say a different combination of people, a husband and wife, because it's whoever comes in next to see the thing becomes the thing. Yeah, I know, right?
Are the previous people released from being the thing when they come back to life and they're just like oh, and they walk out.
Wow, that was an amazing thing.
What was that thing? And then they go back in. I am
never gonna be the same after I was a mummy for a day and a half. Really changes your perspective.
Sounds like that Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie. We're gonna know Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie.
The Rob Zombie films.
Rob Zombie sounds like a kid's musician. Oh, Mom, play Rob Zombie's version of Wheels on the Bus. I am the bus and it has the wheels.
Stop.
I fucking love that. Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my bus. There you go. Rob Zombie's Wheels on the Bus. Perfect. I really nailed that second part.
No, that's my favorite one.
You guys talk.
Anyway, is Rob Zombie one of your wonders of the modern world?
I mean,
or is that just
he's climbing the charts, honestly.
He might be now.
His version of Itsy Bitsy Spider really touches me.
It's very emotional, though.
It's deeper than you think it can be.
Okay, all right. Seriousness, though. Wonders of the world.
I found the largest nuts, guys. Don't worry.
Okay.
Found on just 2 islands of the Seychelles archipelago in the Indian Ocean, the Coco de Mer palm has nuts that reach half a meter in diameter and can weigh as much as 25 kilograms, which is about 1,000 pounds. But I don't know how to convert
What's
those.
it called?
The Coco de Mer palm. Coco de Mer palm.
Oh, and they look like nuts, too.
They kind of do look like nuts.
The one I see looks like one of those neck pillows you wear on a flight.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at and say. I look like nuts.
Hey, we could show an image of that maybe on the screen, possibly.
I won't.
Nod, nose goes.
Well, I was just gonna let Will do it. I don't care.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Will, Google nuts.
Well, put the Google huge nuts Indian Ocean and just put the first image up.
Whatever it is, put it up there.
Yeah. So Mark proposes that we find what the human with the largest testicles. That's a wonderful.
I don't want that on my list. That's
Okay.
Wade's list. He was all about these nuts.
I feel like it's on his list, and now his list has to have an asterisk by it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So if you proposed a phone, you mean something other than like buildings or structures. You're saying anything can qualify.
Yeah, anything like because I mean the traditionally the wonders of the world have been like statues, enormous buildings, and impressive. But like in the modern world, I feel like technology has had as big of an impact, if not more of an impact, than
Well, then I've got my first one.
feats of engineering represented by very large or impressive buildings or statues or what have you. So it could be whatever you want. It could be
The
anything.
internet is my first proposition. The internet.
let's click that guy has the internet while follows those bugs. Do you think this is so special?
That's disgusting to look at, and I have no idea what you actually said.
Yeah, no, I agree with your point, Mark, but I want to let Wade finish proposing the internet. Why?
Well, okay.
I mean, I feel like I know why, but tell us, Wade, why is the internet so good?
What has impacted the world more in the last, like, however many years it's been than the internet? Like, what has changed things more than that? I know it's not like a physical thing you can just look at, but if it can be anything, then
Probably
that's a pretty wondrous thing that has changed the entire world for everybody and continues to do so and evolve.
And it's only positive. There's nothing bad about the internet.
No, that wasn't part of the requirements, was it?
No, I got one that'll beat his. In this round, I'm going to beat him. Flat out. Guaranteed.
Oh, okay. I don't know. The internet is pretty big time. I do have to say, I tend to give Wade a hard time, and I know that, that's he took a big one off the table, but
No, I'm gonna
the internet.
I'm good. I got one that's going head to head. If this is a head to head round off kind of thing,
Officially, that's the format. It's now head to head. Whoever's wins, that becomes.
We were discussing.
That takes the spot, and unless I change my mind later, go ahead.
I got you. Everyone will agree with me as soon as they hear me say these two words: Fort Knox. Imagine walking in to Fort Knox. I have been hearing about Fort Knox since I was a child. I think everyone out there probably knows what Fort Knox is. But if you've ever seen pictures of what the sheer amount of gold that is in Fort Knox, it boggles the mind. Like, I got to look up exactly how much gold is in Fort Knox.
You think that's bigger than the internet?
I'm talking wonders. Internet is not a wonder to me anymore. Internet is like an old hat. If we're discussing this now, if we were discussing it when like let's say 15 years ago, I'd go like, oh yeah, absolutely.
The Great Wall is still considered a wonder. The internet's so much more recent than that.
It is more recent.
No. Fort Knox, because also it's the exclusivity. It's the fact that you're not allowed to see it. So you're seeing something that is so rare, so unbelievably uncommon in the world. Whereas the internet now is like the most ubiquitous thing. Everybody's connected to it. It's great, whatever. If I had to choose to see anything in the world once in my life, it would be to walk in Fort Knox or just suddenly appeared in there. I'm not like a jewelry type of guy. It's just the symbolic. And like, I know it's just rocks, and it's not about the money of it. It's about the mythos of it. It's about the mythology, the legend of it. It's about like seeing this mythical place that everyone's heard of, but it's never seen. And knowing that there are 4,580 metric tons of gold. Over half of the United States Treasury in gold is stored at that one place. And it's just like, it's right there. It's fascinating. I think that is a wonder. That is a wonder that could match any of the other wonders in the world, like the giant buildings and whatever. I think that itself is a wonder.
I would agree. I think it's all wonder.
You know what the road on it is called? It's
Fort Knox Drive.
No, Gold Vault Road.
Oh.
And Bouillon Boulevard.
I would agree that that's a wonder, but if we're thinking outside the box, I feel like the internet's bigger. If we're just going with locations, that's different. But I was going with like beyond locations.
Nah, internet's commonplace. Internet's old hat.
I have to say, I don't know if the internet is as completely ubiquitous as it feels like it is. Obviously, anyone who's watching or listening to this, you're on the internet. This is an internet thing, so you're on the internet. So to all of us here, maybe, there are places in the world where it is still actually very difficult to get onto the internet. These are obviously places where, things like food insecurity is also a problem, and or general safety and living is an issue. I don't know a lot of details, but the internet's not like in every human's pocket, no matter what their status in life. But it is in a lot of the world is pretty ubiquitous. But I feel like I appreciate Mark's submission because it's pretty modern. I should have looked. When were Fort Knox built?
When
were Fort Knox built?
1936.
That's not bad. That's very new. That's very new. And it has gold, which a lot of the classical, wonders of the world had like riches or gold. Like the Taj Mahal is adorned in a large amount of semi-precious stones and things, and in various sort of mosaic almost type thing. Well, and Wade, you did say it's a wonder. You even admitted that you like it. You think it's a wonder. You said that.
I said I would say it's a wonder, but it's more in the traditional sense. But I think that the internet is a bigger impact than Fort Knox. A physical location, sure.
You know what we're going to do?
I don't.
For now, it's a tie.
Oh.
And both
really?
of
I thought
these,
I had that one.
Both of these go on the list. But if we need to remove one at some point, we'll have to resolve that tie. I think those were both just really strong submissions, honestly. I think you're right. I'd give no shits about gold in any way, except that it's, I guess, valuable. But like, I would be impressed to go and see Fort Knox. That would be quite a sight. Well, also the internet's pretty good. So,
Ha!
Good ones.
Thank you.
Look at you guys coming up with great answers off the rip.
Mm-hmm.
It's all downhill from here, huh?
What?
I've got one more good one, and I've got nothing.
Well, we only need 7, so between you, we can do it.
All right.
We can have some filler wonders. That's okay. That's allowed. It can't all be, real wonders. Sometimes you sneak them in. But yeah, Mark, you go first this round.
All right, I'm going to take the other obvious one. The Burj Khalifa. The Burj Khalifa is currently the tallest skyscraper in the world by an ungodly margin. It is not just the tallest, it's the tallest by a lot. And the engineering that was required to build it is a fascinating subject all in and of itself. It is something that no one in the past could ever have built. It's something that people today are like, you probably shouldn't have built this because it's a completely impractical, ridiculous thing. How many stories are in the Burj Khalifa? It was built in 2009. It was completed 1st of October 2009, cost $1.5 billion. It is to the tip 2,722 feet tall. The top floor, which is where it gets weird and impractical, the top floor is at 1,921 feet. So there's another 800-ish feet that are just filler-ish that isn't exactly usable. But even there's 154 floors in the Burj Khalifa, which means if you have to commute to work and you got to go up an elevator that goes up to the 151st floor, your entire day is mostly just waiting for that elevator. I don't know what.
It's probably a fast
sucks.
elevator.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
Probably, but
One of
going
those
up
really slow residential ones.
even fast elevator. I've been in some fast elevators. It still takes a long time to get up.
Have you ever been in the elevator that's in the Willis Tower, which is the wrong name, but what used to be called the Sears Tower in Chicago?
Maybe actually. No.
It's
I've not that one.
insanely fast.
Yeah.
Insane. I think it only I think it goes up to like the 70s or something in terms of floors. It's like a 20-second elevator ride to get from the ground floor to like the observation deck, which is like the 72nd floor. Or something.
Yeah. However, in a building like that, because I've been in some buildings, there's a restaurant in LA, like it's called like 78th something. It's on the 78th floor of a building. You don't just go up in one elevator. You go up, and then you go to another elevator, and you go up again. And I can only imagine that's how it works in the Burj Khalifa. You go up and up and up and up and up.
Like 3 separate elevators that are like 60 floors ish each.
Yeah. And so, for comparison, the previous tallest building was Willis Tower in Chicago, which I think is like to the tippy top. It's over 500 meters. This is still 300 meters taller than that. It's stupidly tall. I've never seen it in person. I've never visited it, but I've seen tall buildings and I go, oh my God. And then like looking up at that, I can't even imagine. You'd crane your neck and it would just like keep going. Seeing that in person would be such like just like a profoundly like holy crap effect. I think of any wonder, if you take anyone from civilization and you show them that building in person, it would dwarf any other wonder that's ever been built.
Okay, so I think of pure stature right now, I would agree that that's a pretty insane, cool one. But skyscrapers have kind of like gone up and up and up throughout the years. So I mean, in 5 years there could be another one that's even taller that would just happen. I
will say, I just want to say, because I found this really interesting, the Burj Khalifa was completed in 2010, and no one has surpassed it since then. Also, Mark, it takes 60 seconds to get from the ground floor to the 124th floor observation deck in the Burj Khalifa.
Takes 60 seconds.
The elevator travels at 10 meters per second.
That's faster than... It travels at a G?
I'm sure it accelerates very gently, but the maximum speed, according to Google, that the elevator travels is at 10 meters per second.
Okay, good.
That's pretty nuts.
I don't think it just
starts
like,
off.
Let's go! That would, kill people, probably. But whatever. But yeah, no, it is very tall. Sorry, wait, go ahead. You're going to talk about wide buildings? Is that where you're going with this?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know the exact dimensions. But the thing I'm thinking of is the International Space Station.
Ooh.
I think having taller and taller buildings, sure, you can pick one of them and make it a wonder. That makes sense. It's an amazing feat. And I can't begin to comprehend the architecture that goes into that. But the first structure people can live in just indefinitely in space, which I'm sure you can appreciate, Mark. You like space more than any of us. That, to me, is a hell of a feat and something to look back on. Because this isn't just building up or building down, building wide, whatever. This is living outside of the realms of our own planet for the first time and just being able to exist in what is otherwise a vacuum of space.
It's coming from a space lover. I do love the space station, but not to disparage it. If you were to compare space vehicles to be made, the Apollo lander I would consider that to be a much more mythologically important space vehicle than that. However, I don't want to discredit the International Space Station.
I don't know if it's the first one. It's just the one that came to mind. I don't know space as well as you.
Not technically the first habitable one, but a lot of previous space stations that existed were module that you could be inside of in space, and not nearly as big in scale as the ISS is, as far as I know.
And I think
we can debate which one, but just being able to exist in space.
The space station itself also borrows a lot from the ability to be in space, which is the true wonder. I think I've heard reports of astronauts who have been in the space station. It's not exactly a wonder to live in it. It's actually quite arduous. But that being said, I do get what you're saying. And I don't want to disparage the space station, but that thing is kind of fall apart.
We could say maybe generally space travel or human space
I'm
occupation or something like that. But I appreciate that. Yeah. I think that's interesting.
The thought of leaving our planet is something that goes beyond, I think, common architectures or things that anyone would have thought comprehensible or possible years and years and years ago, right?
The common ground-based architecture of Burj Khalifa.
Exactly. Well, again, that's an amazing structure, but historically we've had we've had towers, and then someone comes and builds a bigger one. They just do. It's happened a lot.
You don't understand what went into
soon
making
we'll have
that.
Space elevators, and then the Burj Khalifa will be nothing.
Yes, I look forward to that day. But the Burj Khalifa is just such a astronomically, because it's not even that it's the building. It's in Dubai, right? It's in Dubai.
Isn't it in UAE?
Oh, UAE. In Dubai, Emirates? In the UAE. Okay. Dubai's ground is soft, and there is no bedrock to build upon. The engineering feat that they've done, and I'm paraphrasing, is just it works off of the physical phenomenon of driving a long straight pole into sand and the friction repelling force that operates. They created entire new ways to engineer buildings to build that. They had to research new sciences. The amount of brain power that went into putting that, and again, I'm not disparaging the International Space Station.
Yeah, Mark, are you talking bad about space right now?
Not space, the space station. There is a distinction, and you cannot lump all of space with the space station. It is a fantastic
it's the station
thing.
Of space.
It's not the station of space. It's not representative of the entirety of space. It cannot take ownership of space.
I wasn't married to that space station.
But that's what you claim. That's what you claim. That's the one you said. That's the one you offered. That's the building.
Okay, well, I guess we are changing what we said 2 minutes ago. That's fine.
You're trying to change what you said 2 minutes ago. I was saying that your suggestion might not have been the one that I would consider to be a wonder.
And I was open to which one.
But you didn't.
I'm not a space expert.
You locked your answer in. He locked his answer in.
I feel like this is a discussion. You're like, no, I can't hear you.
He locked the sensor in.
Okay, you can say that, Mark. Yeah, get to your. What did you? Where you have a point you were making?
Oh right, yeah, no, just like the sheer amount of brain power that went into building the Burj Khalifa. While it's not necessarily a comparable field because they're entirely different things, but it is a wonder that it's even standing up. Like, it is a goddamn wonder that it was even done in the first place, and it is going to be a wonder when that thing probably falls down.
It'll be like the Colossus at that place. Rhodes? Yeah, the Colossus,
The Colossus
of Rhodes.
of
But
Rhodes.
it only stood for 56 years, but it was a wonder of the world even as he laid on his side.
Wow.
Sadly decaying back to the earth from whence he came. Anyway, I have already decided, I think, how I want to come down on this one, but it feels bad. I have to say, I don't like this decision. I don't like how I arrived at this one, but I have used irrefutable logic, and unfortunately, Wade, we are talking about wonders of this world.
It is of this world. It was launched
And
from this world.
I've heard it commonly described when something or someone goes to space as being, quote unquote, out of this world, because you're kind of leaving the Earth.
If you're boiling it down to semantics, sure. But if an alien species came and we were showing them a tour of wonders of our world, you don't think we'd consider something that was orbiting it? We'd be like, nah, that's not of our world.
If you were standing on the surface of the Earth with some aliens and you were like, all right, we're going to show you the wonders of our world, just get in this spaceship and let's go.
That's
and they'd be like, wait,
you have to, the start.
You have to leave your world to show us a wonder of your world? Look, as a person who graduated from law school, I have to tell you that semantics is one of my favorite ways to settle an argument. And unfortunately, as much as I do think space travel and the space stations and everything, and the future space stations on the moon or Mars or wherever are very much a wonder of humanity, I don't think that they're a wonder of the world.
Enjoy your asterisk win, Mark.
The Burj Khalifa is going to be our third probationary wonder of the world.
Oh, thank you.
On a technicality, took it away from Wade.
In all honesty, it's a pretty awful reason.
A win's a win.
I do protest.
Look, if
I
we
want
were
to
making
file
a
my
list,
protest and
if we were
appeal
making
to
a
a better
list
judgment
of wonders near or about the world, then absolutely space stations and everything would be included. But they're only adjacent to the world, and we're looking really for stuff that's more a part of it, even if it collapses within 25 years.
Gotcha. So we're not being creative about it. I get you. Cool.
No, really stifle that, Wade. Shut that down.
Easy.
Well, you get to go first on the next one. So what's your next idea, Wade? I know you said you only had two, so I'm sure this one is a real ripper, and I'm excited to hear it.
There isn't one. There's just contempt and hatred right now, so I'm going to need a moment.
All right, Mark, you get to go first. Wade has conceded
what's on our list right now? What is? I was keeping track of our list.
Right now, the current list of wonders of our world are the internet, Fort Knox, and the Burj Khalifa, which I now realize I spelled incorrectly, but I know what I meant.
Okay, we didn't put your phones on there, even though you mentioned that as an example.
I was not trying to interject that, and I feel like the internet was a better submission than the phones. I was just giving that as an example to say that it doesn't have to be a list of buildings. It can be,
but it has to be within orbit.
Well, it has to be a wonder of the world, yes.
Which it is, but
I guess you could argue that, parts of the space station and things of that nature
literally
are built
launched
on the world,
from the world. I did argue that.
But then they leave the world, and there's
I guess
no
they're
way
less
they're
wonderful because they're better than a tall building.
Well,
I get it.
Listen, Wade,
they're just
there's grace in losing, and it's okay.
really, really more of a wonder of the solar system once it's orbital.
Yeah, if we were talking wonders of the solar system, I would be on your side. I would be, but I'm not.
Or even just wonders of near Earth orbit or whatever, or things orbiting Earth. They have a little competition. It could be moon, space stations, sun, because we all know the Earth is flat and the sun orbits the Earth.
I think you described how much you hated your own argument and disagree with yourself. I think you just wanted to pick a winner.
I already decided.
I will say my suggestion if Wade can't come up with it, and then I guess I'll
Wade
win.
doesn't have one.
I'll
I'm
give
gonna
the
let
next
you go, Mark.
round in
Go
default.
ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
All
Wade's
right,
stalling.
okay.
I feel like he's stalling
He's
right
stalling. He's stalling.
I'm
Okay,
just
so
debating.
now. Joseph Stalling over here.
this one is kind of deviating away from man-made things, and it's something that actually I truly would never ever ever want to actually see because of the implications of it. But that's part of the reason why I'm prompting it. The Mariana Trench. There's something about it. At the end of the day, it's a hole in the ground, right? But it's a hole in the ground at the bottom of the ocean at the lowest point.
Possibly the deepest hole in the ground.
And that's the crazy thing. It's only possibly the deepest because we just haven't mapped out the rest of the ocean. But for right now, it's the one. There's something, even just thinking about going down there, the sheer distance down to the Mariana Trench into the ocean, of all things, which I absolutely hate. It's not a joke. It is, oh God. It's at a depth of 36,000 feet.
That's even deeper than that guy with the leagues went.
I mean,
I don't know how long a league is, but I assume 20,000 leagues is at least comparable to 30,000 feet. You said 36,000.
Yeah. God. And we're talking like the Burj Khalifa is 2,700 feet tall. This is over like 15 Burj Khalifas deep. Being even remotely in the ocean gives me the heebie-jeebies. This chart that I have in front of me that I don't know if I could show you quickly. I'm not in the Discord, but there's a chart that shows just like the average depths of the ocean.
Share your screen.
Oh, you're right. I can do that.
Also, I just want to say 36,000 feet. That's as deep underwater as you are above the surface of the earth when you're flying at cruising altitude in like a big airplane.
Oh, God.
That's like a normal cruising altitude for like, you know, like a 737 or whatever.
Yeah. So if you turned Mount Everest upside down, you cut it off at sea level, you turned it upside down, Mount Everest, and you dunked it in the ocean, its tip would still be over like 3,000 feet from the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
I really like that there's a zone called the Abyss. And then the trench is like way lower than the Abyss.
Oh yeah, I don't like it. I don't like anything about it. I am fine if this loses because I hate everything about it. But it is a wonder that it is there.
If there was a safe way to do it, I would definitely want to see that.
You can see it about as easily as you can see the space station.
Space station's probably easier. Honestly, you see like a telescope. You can see it with your naked eye if you know where the track is and it's a clear, dark area. I've seen the ISS with my naked eye. My family used to vacation in northern Michigan where it's really dark and they have like sky map type stuff where you.
So what you're saying is
like,
it could be a wonder of the world because you can see it from the world?
Oh, it could be, but we already moved past that.
Oh, okay. I haven't. Mariana Trench. So what's our category? Is it modern wonders, just wonders in general?
I'm just kind of wonder of the world.
It's like, yeah, it's the idea
Okay.
is for it to be more modern, right? A lot of the wonders of the world are quite old, and they are wonders, but also like most of them don't exist, or a lot of them don't exist. Almost all of the ancient wonders of the world don't exist, and like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, there's controversy as to whether those actually did exist in the form that it's understood that they are a wonder.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, and the pyramids of Giza are kind of like the one thing where it's like they're thousands and thousands of years old and they still exist. And some of the new wonders, like the Great Wall of China, obviously exists, and you know,
which are still really old to us.
it's that feels old.
Mm-hmm.
The Burj Khalifa is new. The internet is new. I like these. Fort Knox, relatively new, kind of old, but not old like centuries old.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a century old almost, I guess. But whatever. I like that. I will say it's really not anything that was like made by or affected by humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is
I
totally
feel like a lot of
totally not people.
all the wonders are basically stuff that humanity made, right? So, because I would say like clearly the Mariana Trench, the Grand Canyon, if you've ever seen that in person,
It's
it's way more impressive than you'd think from the pictures.
Yeah,
and it's certainly like to me a natural wonder of the world. But are natural wonders wonders of the world?
Well, natural wonders are, but they're their own category. It depends on what we're doing.
Totally fine. Yeah.
Oh, let's see what Wade has. You got something?
I'm thinking of different structures that like I'm wowed by, and I don't know if they're the same ones that wow you. I guess I'll name the three that came to my mind, and I'll pick the one I want to go with. But the first three that came to mind are the Notre Dame Cathedral, which we actually got to see whenever we were touring Europe. And then one of the reasons that means a lot to me is because I actually tried to replicate it and build it in Minecraft, and it was just astounding what a project that was. And then to see it actually in person was pretty amazing. Eiffel Tower is one everyone hears about, and it's like one of those things you think you have like need to go see. I was kind of disappointed there. It was such a tourist attraction, but like it's just one of those things. It's like you want to see it. I think the one I'm actually going to go with though was one I didn't expect to care that much about, and that's the Sydney Opera House in Australia. It was just such a beautiful structure. I loved being able to sit underneath it, eat lunch on the water. There's like a park across the way, and they have all the water around it. And just looking at it in person, it just looked really amazing. And then like you see pictures of it zoomed out and all the different like way it's designed. It's just such a different looking structure. And it's relatively modern. I think it was built in like the 50s or 60s. And maybe architecturally there's nothing super fancy or wondrous about it, but it's a building everyone knows, and it's something that just looks so different. Whereas the Notre Dame Cathedral, I'm pretty sure, is kind of old. Eiffel Tower, I think, is older. So if we're looking more modern, like 1900s on, it's one of those structures that you know the name of, right? You know where it is, you know what it is, and I think it's a place that if you go to Australia, you want to go see. So that's the one I'm going to go with, mainly because it's more modern, and also because it was actually one that surprised me. It wasn't one I cared to see until I saw it, and I was like, I would love to go back there and sit under it and eat lunch again.
It is surprisingly cool. I when we were in Sydney on tour for the day, I think I saw it the same day you did. I wandered off on my own and I walked through that big park that's like sort of like, it's not a zoo, but it's like a nature park where they have like lots of species of trees and plants, and there are cool animals and stuff. It was surprisingly impactful. It was very cool. Yeah. And I do think it's interesting. I'm not an architectural buff or scholar of any kind, but I feel like to a normal person, there's a lot of modern architecture stuff that's kind of like, meh. Like you talked about Notre Dame, right? It's unbelievable. And it's I don't know the style of architecture it is, but it's not like modern architecture. It is a classic style, right? And it's ornate, and there's gargoyles and all these things, and the buttresses, I assume, probably is a thing on that. And like all this like, cool historic architecture is very interesting. But the Sydney Opera House is like a beacon of what 20th century architecture has to offer. And I feel like there's, for a normal person who's not all in the architecture scene, I'm sure there's stuff that architecture nerds out there are screaming right now. For a normal person, it represents like what's still possible. It's still totally possible in modern world to make something architecturally that's stunning, beautiful. As far as I know, it works really well functionally as an opera house. I do think that's a cool submission. I like that. And it's bigger than I thought it would be. The pictures, it's because it's on the water, I think, and there's not a lot of scale. The pictures make it look like it's just like, a medium, small building. It's pretty big. I was surprised when I walked up to it in person how big it was.
We also had like a beautiful weather day. I think just the stars aligned. I mean, maybe it's always kind of nice. I don't know what the weather of Sydney is like, but it was just like the perfect day to sit outside and chill with a breeze and enjoy food and just like look around and see me, who you all know is a big proponent of water. I love being near water, but having just the Sydney Opera House there, the park and greenery across the way, it was just like a really amazing setting. And like some wonders you go to, again, like you go to the Eiffel Tower, you go to Niagara Falls, you go to stuff like that, and it's like so touristy and built up that it loses its impact. Whereas because it's on water, there's breathing room a little bit around it. There's not a gift shop like every 2 steps when you're walking up to it. It just feels like it's sitting on its own. You can actually respect and enjoy its location.
While I do think that the Mariana Trench has a much grander scale of things to offer and is quite a fascinating like thing that I want to learn more about and would be very fascinating to visit in some capacity, I think I like the Opera House because I like that it plays with the lists, right? Everything on the other Wonders of the World list is like things humans have built, building structures, whatever, statues, impressive stuff. I think the Sydney Opera House is a very shining and impressive beacon of modern architecture that stands up. It's been standing for quite a while, and I still feel like it's impressive. People like it. People go to see it. It's very beautiful. Good one, Wade.
Fair.
Thank you.
And notice how Mark is losing, but losing with grace.
Yeah. Thankfully,
I refuse to accept that the space station is not a better wonder.
The Mariana Trench can stay down there and die for all I care. Fill it in with the cement.
I know it's like a very personal, real like fear that you have of the ocean. If there was the equivalent of the Burj Khalifa elevator, where it's like you get in an elevator, and in a 5.5 minute elevator ride, you could be at the observation deck of the Mariana Trench,
Open glass
and
the
you
whole
can,
way, so you can look out
and you
into the
can
darkness.
see all these creatures. You would,
no.
assuming that it was beyond reality, like 100% safe, unrefutably safe. You still wouldn't be interested just
because
to see it?
you go up a tower and there are glass floors that are like it's safe to walk on. I don't want to walk on those either. Like I don't want to go down there. I don't want to go down.
That's fair. I'm just asking because I'm not saying I wouldn't be terrified, but I would want to see it. If that was an opportunity, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it's gonna be scary, but let's do it.
In the Unis Honest video where Ethan was out in the ocean and was like, "Save me, Mark." There was no sarcasm. I was terrified. I couldn't deal. I left him behind the first time.
That was such a fascinating video.
I can't do it, man.
I'm sure a lot of people watched that and were like, wow, Mark's really playing this up. You were so freaked out.
I'm not okay about the ocean.
That was
okay
very, very interesting. But you did it. You know what, buddy? You confronted it. And that was big.
And I conquered
And now you're not
it.
afraid of it.
Yeah, uh-huh. Ugh. All right. Next up.
I guess Wade gets to go first because you conceded that one and you let Mark go. Do you have another one, Wade?
I do. It's a weird one, and I don't know if you guys will agree.
Is it on? Wait, is it on the world? Are we dealing with more space? Okay,
It is on the world. It's a man-made structure.
That's a good start.
Okay.
Okay. Cinderella's castle in Walt Disney World. Because Disney right now in the present day is such a huge juggernaut powerhouse that controls so much. And everyone, I think, modern day knows the Disney logo from whether it's the animations, the cartoons, being at Disney World, just seeing that castle. But the castle itself, if you see it in person, is actually really beautiful. I was down in Disney World recently. They put on, I don't know about, I'm sure at the castle themselves they do some shows, but like they just put on such amazing shows down there. And it really feels like you're entering another world when you're like at one of the Disney parks. If you're inside the gated, fenced-in area that is like the presentation of like being in another place, walking through the Star Wars area and so on and so forth, like it's amazing how much like it can stay a theme park, but like the vibe really feels like it's different when you're walking around. And I think that castle just represents everything that is Disney, from the old cartoons and animations to the modern day stuff, and just the powerhouse and juggernaut that it is. And they've had such an impact on the world that picking something to represent them, one, shows that, but also it's just a really beautiful structure of its own too, and I think everybody knows it, whether they think of it immediately or not.
That is an interesting submission.
So my submission is, if it wins, it's gonna make Wade very mad.
I don't know. Mine's kind of out there. It's a random one, so I don't know if I'd be that upset about this one. Space Station, I thought had it.
I put forward for your consideration the twin rocket landing of SpaceX's Falcon 9s.
Nah, I can't win. It left space.
It came back right down to Earth.
The space station will probably crash back down to Earth eventually.
The whole intention of this man-made structure is to not only go to not space, but low Earth orbit, but return safely to terra firma. And tell me anyone who's ever seen that video doesn't have a sense of wonder when they see those space bomb towers.
Remember when we were talking about the space station and I said, I'm not married to the space station, but just like a vehicle or something capable of going to space? I feel like that was included in that discussion.
You should have specified. I am
Bob and I were on the same page on that
To be
front.
fair, he did open that up, and I did completely allow him to say, you know, it's not the ISS necessarily, but something, a space station or space something.
I have to say, though, I am very thankful, Mark, for you resubmitting my idea. So thank you for that. I can't wait for you to win and me to get the point for it.
Here's the thing about these things, too.
And if you lose, I'll take the point for the Cinderella's castle.
On the videos, you never really get the sense of scale of how big these things are. There's one actually in LA, at SpaceX's facility in LA. And these are sometimes launched from, I forget what the actual place, it's like near Malibu or something like that, and they leave like these spectral trails at night. I've seen it once in my life, but it's just like this ghostly like explosion across the sky. But when you see it in person, this thing, the Falcon 9 is not the biggest rocket to ever exist, but it's still really, really big. It is 230 feet tall. So they're launching a 23-story building into space, and it comes back simultaneously as an exact pair lands together. It's a wonder. It just like it's that thing about like space flight that cultivates that sense of inspiration that it explores. And it's just such a modern feat of engineering to have it land,
go to space,
back
and
on
land,
Earth in one piece. Like it's breathtaking.
Crazy.
I will say, for some sense of scale on this, because I find it interesting. So the Falcon 9 booster, there are slight variations. I don't know the details, but in general, the Falcon 9 fairing is 13 meters long, which means it's like stands over 40 feet tall. So it's pretty tall. But if you have ever watched a video of a Falcon 9 rocket, the little fins, they're called aero grids, I think, or grid fins or something, that come out when it's like maneuvering back down to land. They look relatively small on the rocket, right? They look like these little things that flip out and help to steer it aerodynamically. Those grid fins are 4 feet by 5 feet. So they look small, but that would, if that thing fell on you, it would probably crush you.
It would crush you.
Like it's a big metal thing. So they are bigger than the video makes them look. I have not actually seen one in person, but the scale is crazy.
Point out one more thing about the scale. The Falcon 9 is 230 feet tall. Cinderella's castle at Disney World is only 189 feet tall.
That's crazy. I think space should be a wonder. Things that can go to space, I'll take the point either way, man. I'm happy for it.
Oh, don't worry, you won't.
Wait, so what am I looking at? That it says that the fairing is 13 meters. Oh, that's the nose cone. That's the payload fairing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's only part of it. Wow, interesting. Wade, I think yours is a very interesting submission. And I
think my other one was too, which I'm about to get a point for, because that's what Mark's resubmitting.
I like the castle. I will say, just I watch a lot of videos on YouTube about like abandoned places. If you ever watch like Bright Sun Films where they tour like abandoned malls or abandoned theme parks, it'd be fucking fascinating in like 100 years to see what people make of Disney World in Florida when it's abandoned, theoretically, if that happens. And it's just like it's like a whole county. It's a whole place, right?
We don't even see a lot of it. There's like those tunnels apparently underground and stuff too. Like there's a whole
It would be so fascinating to see a video in like 100 years, 200 years, whatever, of like all this shit after it's decayed and left. It'd be very interesting because Disney is such a big place compared to theme parks and other attractions and stuff. It's so big. It's hard to fathom. But I do feel like Mark has captured something. I remember the first time I saw.
It's crazy. I'm having deja vu. I feel like it's something I captured.
I watched the first time the twin Falcon 9s landed. I watched in the video where they land like next to each other too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That was cool.
I watched that and I was like my worldview changed somehow that day, and I was absolutely taken in with wonder and shock, and
imagine watching the first moon landing back in the 60s. How wonderful that would have been.
I think that was probably Mark's submission if we go back to that conversation. But I have to say, I think the Falcon 9 rocket system and the twin rocket landing is quite the wonder. And I submitted for that idea. Vehicles. Mark gets 1 point.
Yes!
And for having an idea that sparked Mark to have such a good idea subsequently, Wade gets 2 points.
Thank you. That is deserved, and I think that's very fair.
I want to point out something that may take away a point from Wade's submission is the Orlando Cinderella Castle is not even the tallest Disney castle in the world.
I wasn't going for tallest. That's just Disney World in Florida is the first one I think of as being like the original. Yeah, maybe it's
Isn't
not,
it the most iconic design? That's the one that is like the iconic. Or is it the one in Anaheim that's the iconic
The
design?
one in Anaheim is the iconic design, and technically speaking, Tokyo replicates that one very well. It's not taller than Orlando, but Shanghai actually has the tallest, biggest one. The most fairy tale-like is most likely Tokyo or Disneyland Paris, but just if we're going by grandness and wondrousness.
Well, you all got what you deserved on that one, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for taking away that point I didn't earn, Mark.
Wade's points didn't really hinge on anything about the castle, so that doesn't really take away from.
Oh, well,
you had such a good idea with the space stuff earlier.
I will
Mark.
still take the moral victory on this one.
You didn't get you got nothing.
No, the point was the moral point, and I get that, and I cherish that in my heart.
Yeah,
I
think that is the only thing Mark has is the moral victory.
I don't even feel. I'll let him think he has it, but I feel like I got both.
No. I got the moral point.
That's big of you, Wade.
That's so
very
big of you.
It is.
So
All right.
big of you.
It's as big as I am for him to climb on my back and try to steal my idea.
So big of you.
We are at 5 out of a minimum requirement of 7 wonders of the world, gentlemen. And I feel like we're really getting bogged down in specifics here. I want to do a lightning round where I want you to just shout things out for 15 seconds. Both of you just say things, and then at the end of the 15 seconds, collectively, we're going to pick 2 more from the ideas that you submitted.
I have one, but I need to clarify it.
Okay, would you rather do a lightning round or another regular round? Do you have another one, Mark? Do you want to do some debate?
I got another one that I could defend, I guess.
All right, let's do another regular round, and then number 7 will be lightning round.
Okay. Mark, I think you're first this time.
Sure. I posit the Tokyo rail system. Specifically the Tokyo rail system, is probably one of the best examples of how to run public transportation, and also the bus system. The bus system is no slouch either in Tokyo. It's a paragon of organized public transit. But specifically, the rail system is such a meticulously planned, well organized, well kept, updated, and efficient way of keeping the populace of Tokyo moving to where they need to go in a timely manner than any other rail system in the world. Even like New York's metro system, which is probably famous because everyone knows New York has a subway, and it's very, 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 well, it goes places.
Isn't it notoriously like late and broken and
Exactly,
kind of covered in like piss and bad stuff?
So Tokyo's
America.
I know, right? Tokyo's system, it's not only run to the minute, it's run so efficiently that if it's late for a minute, their heads will roll. Not literally, but
like maybe.
People will get fired if it's even like a minute late. It's bad if it's even like a minute or two late, because it throws everything off. And the entire city government funds an exorbitant amount of maintenance crews, of workers to make sure that it's running efficiently, of optimization crews, of new, whenever there's new additions to the city, because the city is also one of the most populated cities in the world. I think like 10 million people live there. So moving that many people around is no mean feat. And a lot of it has to do with squashing the constant expansion of highways, which is not the best way to move people around a city, as it turns out, shockingly.
Shut up! Don't tell us how to build our roads.
It's buses and trains will always be more efficient. Anyway, so I posit the Tokyo metro system because it is just goddamn amazing.
I enjoy it. I think it's sad that you have to pause it as a wonder whenever everyone is capable of having something good. They just don't. That's the tragedy of that proposal.
Hey, listen. America was built on the automotive industry, okay? That's why Japan doesn't have good car companies. That's why they don't have 2 of the most dominant car brands in the world, because of all the mass transit. It ruins it. Am I right? Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
My family would kill me if they heard me talking like this, by the way. I was born in Pontiac, car brand, Michigan, and almost all of my mom's side of the family are like GM engineers and American car people. And whoops, sorry everybody.
Even in Korea, Seoul has a good metro system. They have tons of buses, but they're also like very car-based city. But even I've never been to Tokyo, but even riding like Korea's in Seoul, the metro system is like, oh my god, I can get anywhere without ever having a car. I can get anywhere. How is that possible?
I would say I have never been to that part of the world, but even in Europe, the public transportation in so much of Europe is so much better that it's like weird.
Yeah,
it's because as an American, we were somewhere and we needed to get across the city or whatever that we're in, and we'd be like, oh, in like a taxi or something. No, you don't. No, there's probably a bus stop or a train stop within walking distance, and it probably can get you to almost exactly where you want to go within like a couple blocks. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
That sort of shit doesn't exist
but we
anywhere in America with a short list of exceptions.
Oh, we could have it.
Again, this is getting sadder and sadder.
It's so sad.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. Wouldn't it be cool to have good public transportation? Imagine.
Very
Imagine.
achievable.
Yeah, extremely achievable. Shockingly, it's so achievable. It's so achievable.
The wonder is the fact that we haven't done it.
Is that your wonder? Are you proposing that as your wonder?
My wonder is the failures of humanity.
Wow, that is a wonder.
So, modern wonders. I'm going to propose one that was construction started on March 19th of 1882. Does that sound modern enough for you?
Are you about to talk about the Sagrada Familia?
I am, because it's not even done yet.
Very interesting.
140 years of construction. It's supposed to be finished in the next 3 years, finally. But it's a beautiful looking structure. I'm a big sucker for stained glass. I love the way stained glass looks, and it's got tons of stained glass. But the fact that it's been being built for 140 years or so is just mind-blowing. That's shocking to me. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to look at least the images I've seen. I don't know how big it is, tall it is, how much it stands, but just the fact that it's been being built for that long, you just have to wonder, like, what's changed in construction methods and how is that reflected? Like, I'm sure they've tried to make it look the same, but you got to think something in the foundation is done drastically different than something that's still being worked on now.
Well,
and just for one structure to incorporate, that's pretty
fascinating story, and I wish I knew it better, right? But I actually have been to Barcelona, and
I have not.
I have seen the Sagrada Familia in person, and it's very distinctive, right? So for anyone who doesn't know, this is a cathedral, and it's designed by Gaudi. And Gaudi is very big in Barcelona, and Spain in general. I mean, the world in general, as an architect, I think an icon. Again, not an expert, but I'm pretty sure he's an icon. There's like a huge Gaudi park in Barcelona that's very cool. And the Sagrada Familia, the story of why it's unfinished, I think is fascinating. And this is the part I don't know very well, but I believe construction started while Gaudi was still like working on the designs for it, right? He had this, it's a very unique looking cathedral. I think it's meant to look very natural. It looks almost like a dirt mound or something. Like, look at pictures, and I don't know, show a picture, Will, if we can. It's very fascinating. But Gaudi died, I think, before he actually designed the entire project. And also there is some drama about he had some castings. Part of his design process, I think, involved making like models or designing things in miniature and scale. And there were like cast pieces that he had worked on, or he had worked on and had his students work on or whatever, that existed that were like, those were going to be parts of the building. And they were destroyed by someone who worked for him or with him for reasons I don't fully remember. But like, it's a dramatic story, the story of the building and of why it's not done yet. How people now are trying, for I don't know when Gaudi died, but people have been working for decades already trying to figure out,
1926.
So for almost a century, people have been working on it, trying to complete it, but also they have no more guidance from Gaudi. He is gone. Yeah. So there are like, people who've studied his style and are experts or whatever are like, well, what would he do? What did he mean for this? Whatever. It's like trying to finish a piece of art that's like half done from an artist who passed away. It's very fascinating, and it's an extremely beautiful building. It's a very interesting submission.
It was only 15 to 25% of the way done when he died. And his main disciple started working on it, but it was interrupted by the Spanish Civil War in 1936. And then so on and so forth. The story continues until, now it's 2023 and the thing's still 3 years away from being done, allegedly. Which is a very long time from 1882.
I totally forgot about that building. I definitely think that it's like its story behind it is just like fascinating. It's history, and I would love to consider it if it was done. Those lazy people haven't finished it yet, so I'm not impressed. What a bunch of goofballs trying to build this building that ain't done yet.
Yeah, we keep adding new rules on your turn, Mark. Now all of a sudden it has to be finished too. My God. What if they add another rail system in Tokyo where they change a train?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if you're talking about things being done, Mark, I believe you said that they have entire teams of people, exorbitantly funded teams of people to expand the railroad system into new areas.
It's usable. They can use it. No, it's usable.
I'm pretty sure the building's been used.
It's usable. No one's used that.
There's
Oh,
huge
okay.
lines of people every day to get into the building. I've been in them. They definitely use it for stuff.
No. It's like the building's the ship of Theseus of buildings. We can't consider it because it's old and new at the same time.
That's why it's
But
not
wait, they're
done.
not replacing parts. They're just still working on it.
The guy who they put in charge is like, no, look at this now. Now that we've done this part, this doesn't make any sense. Gaudi would never have done this. Tear that part down. Then I'll come up with a new design.
Yeah.
Truly is the cathedral. The cathesius.
The Cathedral of Theseus.
The cathedral. Oh, there's something in there. I don't know.
So in 2026, it's just going to be like a Wendy's sitting there like, what the fuck happened? Well, we changed the design so many times. I don't know.
We found out Gaudi's granddaughter was actually the Wendy.
It's that new style of Wendy's where it's like a big glass panel and one big wood thing over it, and then the back is all. But it just has a sign on front that just says Sagrada Familia.
It looks like the building, but on the grand reveal day, they like pull a string and it collapses just to reveal the Wendy's sitting there.
Yep, pretty much.
Sounds right. An interesting round.
Well, there's 2 spots, right? We could just flood them both in.
There are 2 spots.
That's true.
Yeah, we could just do that. Or we could also reconsider ones that did not quite get selected, which there aren't that many of. I do feel like I have to give this spot. It's fascinating and it's a modern marvel, but also the story is really interesting. And I feel like wonders frequently have fascinating stories and histories, like the Colossus fell over, but it was still for hundreds of years. It was renowned as this thing. I feel like I got to give number 6 spot to the Sagrada Familia.
That makes sense. I would agree with that one. I would agree.
That's a cool submission. And if it's done soon,
Hopefully. Unless the guy working on it dies, it takes another 140 years.
On the 100th anniversary of 110th anniversary of his passing. No, 100th. It's 26. Whatever.
3 years will be.
We'll all
100
agree
years
if there's another 100-year postponing, we'll retroactively give me that point. We all
Okay.
agree. All right.
Okay, we
We're all
agree.
in agreement.
Well, so we'll see in 3 years if it's not done. Mark gets that point.
Okay. Fair is fair.
And the list will have to officially be changed in the archives so that the Sagrada Familia is removed and the Tokyo Rail
So it
System is
becomes less of a wonder if it's not done in time?
Yes.
Yeah, well, then it's just disappointing. And how
But wait,
wonderful,
but there'd be
how
more
wonderful
story.
can it be if it's disappointing?
Yeah. We're all
If
in
it's not
agreement.
done, there'll be more story.
We're
to
all
tell.
in
Yeah, well,
agreement.
but
We're
it's,
all in agreement.
it'll be a wonder in the next century.
Yeah, when we do this episode again, when we get older, we'll.
So wait, if it's
revisit.
finished in 2027, then it's not this century.
Yeah, no, that's the
No.
start of the next century.
Oh,
after,
okay, all right.
After
Our
2026.
centuries start with Gaudi years.
This
so
is
Gaudi's
like
death
this is
marked
like
a new century.
this is like accounting. We actually choose when our centuries change over.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
Gotcha.
the calendar means nothing.
This is a before Gaudi century. We need after Gaudi. AG is what we're looking for.
post Gaudi is
Post-Gaudi.
where that belongs. Really.
The PPG.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, do we want? I mean, I guess we don't have that many that weren't selected.
What do we have?
Ones that did not make it on this list are the Cinderella Castle from Disney, the Mariana Trench, and technically the Tokyo Rail System.
I feel like Mariana Trench is a natural wonder, and these are all pretty much man-made.
I would say I don't like the idea of giving the Cinderella Castle because it's like a monument to capitalism, and it's just like a business's thing, and it's not humanity's thing.
It's pretty representative of our time,
But not
in
of
the world.
humanity. It's of one company and one man's vision, and probably not even that man's vision anymore.
Well, the rail system definitely isn't representative because the only one place has done it.
I think it is more specifically because it represents what we could achieve if we actually pull our heads out of our ass, and I like that as a full-on system.
Is there one we're not considering that could be added to the list?
Yeah,
though?
I will open the floor to new suggestions if anyone has any other bangers out there.
Humanity's ability to disappoint is a wonder. I'm stealing Wade's one. I'm putting that forward.
I mean, I don't want to disagree because I feel like I'd get the point again. So,
No way.
The
This time,
extent of our ability to underwhelm
yeah.
truly is a wonder.
And I'm submitting this one with another supplementary form that allows a guarantee that all points go towards me, the finder.
okay.
so you want to get the points for what quote unquote Wade's idea.
It's the it's the FNDRKPR.
You presented it as Wade's idea.
He did that already but he didn't file the paperwork correctly.
Yeah, you'll see all the dots are dotted and the T's are crossed in the FNDR KPR form.
Yeah, no,
I would also like to
accept that.
resubmit my idea. Here's my paperwork because, well, I'm me.
Mark's paperwork was actually filed first, which gives him precedent.
Yeah, but no one will look at it until
here.
tomorrow, so they'll see it at the same time.
I'm submitting the
Sorry, Wade,
LSRWEPR.
It's officially secured potential points for Mark for the idea of the disappointment of humanity as a wonder of the world. Do you have anything else to submit, Wade?
Not of recent, no.
So basically what we've decided is it's between the Tokyo Rail System, which earns points for Mark, or the disappointment of humanity, which earns points for Mark.
Or the castle. I think the castle's still in there. Just because Mark discounted.
Oh yeah, Mark
discounted
discounted it heavily, but I guess it's still technically in the running. I did tend to agree with Mark's argument. I do think Disney is a representative icon of our time, but not necessarily in like a good aspirational way.
Does it have to be?
So,
are all of the other ones all good?
Wonder tends to have a connotation of positivity.
Well,
to
our
it.
list, but I mean, in general, did bad things ever happen to the other ones?
I don't know if any wonders of the world are sort of beacons of huge systemic issues.
And just because we're looking at it from that lens doesn't mean everyone does. Disney's also a place of dreams and hopes for young ones.
Come on.
I have made a decision.
Okay.
The seventh thing that goes on our list is the disappointment of humanity.
Yahoo!
Now, I do want to file this in real quick. If the Cinderella Castle is not happy and uplifting, the disappointment of humanity, I feel like falls under the same umbrella.
Wade, I appreciate
Call me crazy.
Your complaint is registered, and
Thank you.
I will tally the points. Mark
Thank
did
you.
file the correct paperwork, which does secure him the points for that idea being selected.
fair.
As the host and arbiter of this episode, I will use my unilateral authority to say that I don't think that paperwork should exist, and I'm going to go ahead and veto Mark's paperwork. And while he thought he had this all wrapped up in the bag, the disappointment of humanity is Wade's idea, and its place on the list secures Wade one additional point. Making the final score of this episode, 6 points for Wade, apparently, and 3 points for Mark. I don't even have to cheat to make Wade win.
That's good math.
Mark, how did you do so poorly?
I don't know.
Mark,
I'm surprised you got that many. Your ideas were mostly terrible
You
compared
got
to mine.
Fort Knox, Burj Khalifa, and the Falcon 9 rockets, but you also got added to this list the disappointment of humanity, which earned points for Wade. The twin rockets earned points for Wade. That's right, because that was up against the Cinderella Castle. But that was Wade's previous idea of the space station.
No, it
Right.
wasn't.
Wow,
But
you earned
wait,
a lot.
wait,
You earned a lot of points for Wade, Mark.
Wait, I gotta ask a question. Have you seen the Twin Rockets landing?
I have. I did. I watched it.
I watch it a lot. I watch that sometimes if I feel bad and I want to see something that makes me feel better about humanity.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
great job. Honestly, Mark, it feels almost like you won because you earned so many points for Wade. You basically made him the winner.
My win feels like a wonder of this podcast.
Yeah, maybe that's the 8th wonder of the world that Wade actually won this one, despite it feeling very Mark-dominated. Turns out it's dominated by Wade's ideas. Mark just talked a lot.
Did the internet make it? Was the internet on the final list?
Yeah. The Internet, Fort Knox, Burj Khalifa, Sydney Opera House, Falcon 9 twin rocket landings, Sagrada Familia, and the disappointment of humanity is our final
Excellent.
list of the
Good
new wonders of the world.
I feel like one of those is not like the others, but I'll take it.
Mark, as the as the loser, as the loser of the episode, do you have a speech? Do you want to say anything? The final words?
I feel like it's a wonder my losing streak is for some reason extending instead of this being my triumphant return to form that we all know and love as me having the wins. And I feel like our plan, Bob, of us rigging the game against Wade is falling apart at the seams. I feel like you may be looking at that piece of paper I subtly handed to you upside down in some way.
I thought that was a joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes. I conclude before I lose myself any more points and earn Wade more points.
You didn't earn Wade any more points. Good job, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Wade, winner speech?
Feels good to be back on top.
It's been so long since you won.
As one of the main deciders of Wonders of the World, it feels very good. I'm glad that space vehicles of some kind made it onto the list because I do feel like that's a pretty big representation of our time. The castle, I'm willing to concede that was an iffy one, but I honestly like our list a lot. I think it's a pretty good list. I want to go back to the Sydney Opera House, so I'm going to try to find a way to make that happen. Thank you.
All right. Good speech. Good speech. Thank you so much for listening, or if you're really cool, watching this video is exclusively on Spotify, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow it and check out the content of Wade, Lord Minion 777 or Minion 777. Mark is Markiplier. You know him. You love him. I am a friend of Mark, Bob. Make sure you put that in Google. It'll pop right up. And I can't tell if Mark is frozen in technical terms or in life, but he looks very upset.
Moving, so I think he's okay.
Okay.
He's reading frantically.
Another banger episode, so thanks so much for being here. Make sure that you also check out our merch, store.distractablepodcast.com. That's the end. I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't really plan to, but I really screwed you over on this one. So
yeah,
I felt
that. Yeah, I felt that.
I think this is the new fairest episode of all time.
That's on me. That's on me. But that's it. We're out of here. Next time, Wade will host. Make sure you come back for that one. Until then, podcast out.